Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, Welcome everyone to Her Campus at Americans 2020 Women of the Year event. We are so excited that you could all join us today. And we're so grateful to all of our awardees who took the time this week to interview with some of our editors and come and join us today to speak about what you guys are passionate about. And we are so excited you're here. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Abby, who's going to introduce our speaker.
Hi all, I'm Abby. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the president of her campus at AU. So today we're going to have Amy Quichiz speak to us. I first learned of Amy when I went to Syracuse. I just transferred here to AU like a couple years ago. And so Amy had graduated, I think, just like the year before I started going to Syracuse. And we both were in the same club there, which was Students Advocating Sexual Safety and Empowerment. And like Amy was such a legend. Like everyone just talked so highly of her, and also in the Women's and Gender Studies department, like everyone just talked so highly of Amy and how amazing she was and all the great things she was doing. And now Amy is a current graduate student at American University in the School of International Service, which is really awesome. And she's the co-founder of Veggie Mijas, which is a Black, Indigenous, people of color community organization dedicated to food justice. So without further ado, amazing Amy, go ahead.
Hi, Abby. Thank you so much for that presentation. I'm really excited to be here, and hi, everybody else from her campus. My name is Amy Quichiz, and as Abby let y'all know, I went to Syracuse and I studied women's and gender studies and sociology. And I'm now at AU at the International School doing ethics, peace, and human rights. Before I got there, I actually, starting with my experience at Syracuse. SASE was part of the Planned Parenthood chapter, so I did a lot of internships at Planned Parenthood. I was part of the public affairs group at Planned Parenthood at Syracuse. And after graduation, I actually got my first job at that Planned Parenthood for being an education specialist, which we had to do a lot of facilitating workshops in the community. And then after that, I actually got my job at Planned Parenthood in New York City. I transferred and became an educator over there. Once I was at that job, I applied to NYU for their international group masters. And I really didn't like it over there. I hated it, actually. All of the professors were white in an international program. And the two international women's professors were also white and very problematic. So I was pretty much miserable on my second semester. And I say this to be transparent, right? Because it's important to, at that time, I was so hurt that NYU didn't come out the way that it was supposed to, because that was like my dream. And my therapist said, your dreams sometimes isn't what you hope to be, and you're still going to make that dream possible. That just wasn't the path for you. And I think that really resonated with me, because then after I applied to American, and I applied to the Planned Parenthood in DC, and in the headquarters, and I got the job. And then when I got the job, my first day, I got into American. So I moved literally to DC without even knowing that I would get into American, but I just trusted the universe. And it was amazing. So now I'm here, and I feel like I had a lot of success getting there, but it was also a lot of hard paths that came by. For example, when I was going from Planned Parenthood of Syracuse to New York, I actually didn't they didn't see that I didn't have my license, and I needed a license to work there, like a driver's license, and I failed the test going there. So I was like, I know that they're gonna kick me out of this job, and it was so horrible. I was living in my sorority sister's mattress for so long because my lease ended and I didn't know where I was gonna end up, and it was just so hard. And the fact that I got that job in New York City was amazing. So it just took a lot of trials to get to where I am. And it was all really great. And I think that because I did my internship at Planned Parenthood through undergrad, that really just lifted up where I am now. And with Veggie I actually started when I graduated with my sorority sister, and we made a Folks of Color collective where folks of color can speak about being plant-based and how that affects them and their position of their marginalized identity. So that actually became it happened because I made a spreadsheet and everybody was like, oh, I want to be part of this conversation, I want to do this as well. And I was like, okay, like I just was trying to collect recipes from people, but people wanted to make their own events as well. So we started out a chapter in Oakland and then in LA and then Chicago, until it finally just became what it is now, a collective of over 13 states, and it's going to be international as well. So I'm just really grateful that a lot of organizers are on the ground talking about food justice, food accessibility, environmental justice, climate change, things that I'm very passionate about. And I feel like now that I'm in the international school, I feel like I can have those tools in order to then know how to talk about those topics internationally. And in the international school, I'm learning about women's and global studies in that program because that also interests me. So it's really important, I feel like, for me to wrap up, I'm saying like, it's really important to me to find my passion and really go with that. I came into Syracuse to be a forensic scientist. And then when I went into the advisor and he was like, oh, you have to go to med school for that, I literally was like, dip, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to med school. And I came back literally like within 30 minutes with a signature of the Women's and Gender Studies department changing my major. And I was like, you know what? I'm always in feminism blogs during my time off when I'm not in school. I'm literally always writing. So I think this is the career that I want to do. And I just followed my heart, and yeah, and that's how I am here now. And I used writing a lot as a tool to heal, right? As a brown girl growing up in Jackson Heights, I really grew up like loving my culture, and somehow in the midst of social media and all of that, I really didn't like who I was. And when I learned about white supremacy in my class in Women's and Gender Studies at Syracuse, it was a transformational shift to learn what I really felt this whole time. And just healing of like how, you know, loving myself, like seeing all of my professors of color teach me about my history and my peers' history. I think it was a really transformational point for me to learn about my background and why I should love myself. So I do a lot of writing about healing and brown girl self-love, which is really, really important. So if anyone has any questions afterwards, I can totally take them too. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and for speaking to us. I really, really appreciate it. On it, like, I mean, I told you this in your email, but you definitely like, you mirror like all of the aspects that we strive for when we nominate and choose like Women of the Year. And so I'm so happy you got to come and speak to us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So now we're going to go on to some poetry. Our very own Grace, she actually just wrote and published her own book of poetry this year, and so we wanted to give her some time to give some of her poetry for everyone. So Grace, you want to take it away?
Hello. So yes, over the summer my book Into the Orange Grove got published, and so I'm going to read two poems about some women that I admire. First, the one about my mother, and the second one about my sister. So the first poem is called Ode to My Gaia. Ode to My Gaia. I tell God, pearls are not made from sand. They are made with her hands, between her fingertips. Like how she separated the sky from the earth with the fingernails smile, and made gods and titans escape from her own skin like clay. Her voice rides the waves like crystal sea foam when she tells stories at the bottom of the ocean. She crafts her pearls, a sculptor, never rolling too much sand or sea. She cries rose petals and tells me, red is always saved for last. She reaches through thorns to save me, breathing salt water from my lungs, rebuilding the world in a rosebud. And now the second poem is called Willow, which is my twin sister's name, and this poem's about her. So Willow. Periwinkle branches reach out to me. The way winter falls on her each year makes the summer nothing but a sigh. Can you believe we are so lucky? She grew in the garden when I was born, and I have forgotten to tell her she is my favorite. Stand under her in fevers, wraps me in leaves when my skeleton shivers, asks why a blight consumes my orange grove each summer, asks me why people don't stay longer. I tell her people show for the fruit. She reminds me beauty is found in the roots. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was so wonderful. I'm just going to send the order of how we're going to honor everyone in the chat right now, just so that everyone knows. So our Vice President Ridley will introduce you, and then you'll give your speech afterwards. Your speech, if you haven't prepared one, it doesn't have to be too long. It can just be whatever you want to say. We just wanted to give you guys a platform to speak about what you're passionate about, what empowers you, and why you feel like you were nominated for this award. So I just put it in the chat. Can everyone see it? Okay, great. I'm going to hand it over to Ridley.
Hey everyone, so our first awardee today is the Woman of the Year from the College of Arts and Sciences, Kiran Waqar, who is involved in the Justice for Muslims Collective and Heart in DC, and she works on topics such as gendered Islamophobia, community care, and healing. She's also involved with the Muslim student organization, Students for Justice in Palestine, the Asian American Student Advocacy Committee, and Intergroup Dialogue, and is a Frederick Douglass Distinguished Scholars Program on campus. So please welcome Kiran.
Hi. First of all, it's like kind of weird to do this on Zoom. So if I'm awkward or anything, that's why. But I'm super honored to get this. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I was like, yo, the College of Arts and Sciences is like everything. Like you got like neuroscience, you got sociology, you got like public health, you got like econ, like everything in there. So I was like, damn, that's a lot of people. So I'm really thankful. And yeah, I just really wanted to I'm really honored to be here. Really honored to get this award. And I really do think it shows like all the cool people I have with me, you know, because I really wouldn't be able to get this award if it wasn't for like all my friends, all my family members, like everybody who like calls me stupid, who's like, yo, what you just said there made no sense. And I'm like, oh, you're right, that actually didn't make sense. So I really just like shout out to my community, shout out to my friends, shout out to my also what Amy was saying, I was like snapping the whole time because like what she was saying about like learning as a form of like healing and like especially around like white supremacy, like shout out to my teachers and like some professors at AU, not all of them, some of them, for really like making the classroom like a healing space, like a place where I felt like I learned a lot about myself and learned a lot about why the world is the way it is. And that allowed me to do the things I do. So shout out to all those people. And I think I'm just gonna use this space real quick to shout out the clubs I'm involved with because I can, unless someone like mutes me or something. But I'm gonna shout out like Muslim Student Association for like all like really cool like community stuff they're doing, like the stuff they're doing around like unpacking faith and identity and community and what it means to be a Muslim student at AU. Asian American Student Union for the really cool stuff they're doing around what the term Asian means, working with departments, working with other groups to like have a deeper conversation there and do like community care stuff too. Shout out to Students of Justice in Palestine for like having conversations that often don't happen in the classroom. I think Palestine is often a very stigmatized topic at AU. So even having that conversation, I think is really cool. And we just had a speaker come who talked about how organizing is a labor of love. And I think that really resonated. So shout out to them. And then shout out to Intergroup Dialogue for having conversations, for like paying students to have those conversations, because students do so much unpaid labor, so it's important to get students paid. And then lastly, I'm gonna shout out Outbreak, because I'm working with a student right now to do a virtual, kind of sucks, but virtual Outbreak to South Africa and Palestine and other places to have conversations about means to have transnational solidarity. So that's an unpaid thing. So not shout out to them for not paying students, but shout out to them for making that space. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm really, really honored to be here. And all that, yeah.
Thank you so much. We're honored to have you as our Woman of the Year for CAS this year. Our next awardee is the School of Public Affairs Woman of the Year, Schanelle Sultana. Schanelle is the Vice President of American University Student Government. She oversees the programming of Kennedy Political Union, Women's Initiative, Student Union Board, and Founders Week. And in addition to all of this, she's also an intern on the press team for Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. Please welcome Schanelle.
Hi all. I just wanted to extend my sincere gratitude to all of you for this award. I especially want to thank her campus for your tireless work to uplift and highlight women's voices on campus. I am so grateful for all that you do, and I'm honored to be receiving the SPA Woman of the Year award. I'm grateful to be surrounded by strong, bold, fearless women every day, from my phenomenal women of color-led Vice President's Cabinet to the incredible women I've met at AU, and to each of the Women of the Year recipients today. I learn and grow from their examples, and I thank you all for being inspirations for myself and other women on campus. Something that I've grown to learn is that the more we continue to own our space and voice at the table, regardless of how uncomfortable it may be, the more doors we open for others behind us to do the same. And this is especially true for BIPOC women who are significantly underrepresented on campus and experience unique barriers in our world today. So having this space is especially meaningful for us. And so I thank you all for doing this today. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate the work that you all do, and I'm grateful for your support. So thank you so much.
Thank you. As someone who is in class with you and knows that you work really, really hard, just like to say, we really do appreciate you and everything that you do. Next up is our our Woman of the Year for the School of Education, Julia Cronin, who is a global awareness programmer for She's the First and a DC Reads team leader. Please welcome Julia.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. And just to echo what everyone else has been saying, thank you so much to Her Campus for hosting this event. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm also really happy to be representing American School of Education, since it's only in its first few years of existing as a separate school from the College of Arts and Sciences. I've always been drawn to teaching and empowering classrooms and future generations that are taught how to critically think and approach creative solutions, and how much they deserve a quality teacher that will do the required work to support all of their students. I find myself in my School of Education classes that consist of so many future secondary, elementary teachers, future education policymakers, many of them women, which is great, and incredible professors who embody the passion for teaching that I feel. And I almost have to stop myself and think wow, I'm here and I'm doing what I've said that I wanted to do since I was a little girl, and that's a remarkable feeling. The School of Education at AU is incredible for the hard work that it does. It has an extremely well-accomplished department. Its devotion to anti-racism lens, focus on collaboration of teachers and students, and a desire to help support students that become teachers that will hold students to high standards of excellence. I'm honored to be a part of this work and to be here receiving this award on behalf of the school and among all of these incredible women. As a history teacher, I look forward to creating a classroom where students learn to critically think and analyze and to question and challenge, but above all, learn how to become a lifelong learner, where their education is not something that exists on a piece of paper on their desk, but rather something that transcends classroom walls and gives them tools to build their own path. COVID has made school look different and has worsened the achievement gap and created several challenges for students to go to school. The students have not let that stop them. On November 3rd, many residents in DC held their breath anxiously, awaiting the election that would start that evening. But from 8:15 a.m. to 9:15, I logged onto a Zoom call to observe a 10th grade history class. And I listened to a group of young women discuss the rampant voter suppression facing our country. And I watched as they discussed solutions they saw necessary for a vision for democracy they had, where leaders were held accountable to serve all Americans. And on that morning, I thought about the work that lay ahead, regardless of the election's outcome, but how our future generations were ready to meet these challenges. And that as their teacher one day, I am grateful for the chance I will have to work with them in the classroom and promote their strides towards justice. So thank you so much again for Her Campus, and I'm really, truly honored and happy to be here.
Thank you, Julia, and thank you for being our first ever School of Ed Woman of the Year. We're very excited to honor you. Our next Woman of the Year is from KOGOD. Her name is Grace Brennan. She's a defender for the AU lacrosse team and a volunteer coach for the Harlem, New York lacrosse program. She started Team Impact AU, which is a program that sponsors a child with terminal illness and makes them an honorary member of the team. Please welcome Grace.
Hi guys, I'm Grace. I hope you're all staying positive throughout the remainder of the semester and testing negative. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to have been selected as the KOGOD Woman of the Year. Thank you all for being here virtually to share in this occasion and recognize these other amazing women and their accomplishments. You are all very hard acts to follow. I'm so honored to have my hard work recognized in this way and more importantly be nominated by my sister. Hannah, who's the little cute one on the screen, is the most selfless and loving person that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. I'm truly lucky to have you in my life, Hannah. Thank you for always pushing me to be the better version of myself and constantly supporting me. You're so much more than my sister, and I'll forever thank my lucky stars for you. So the honor to be nominated for KOGOD Women of the Year is such a huge accomplishment, and I'm really proud to be here today along with all of the other women. There are so many others who deserve to share in this award, and I would love to thank my family, my teammates, my friends, my coaches, who've all shaped me into the person I am today. There have been countless hours of studying, working hard on and off the lacrosse field, thousands of hours of volunteering and giving back, but one of my most proudest accomplishments is just about to begin, as I am now starting to work with Team Impact, which is an organization that pairs a child who has unfortunately been sidelined by sickness with a collegiate team. And through this, we have a chance to give a child a second family, a team, a home, and bring some much needed happiness to their lives. I've been working on this program for quite some time, and we're finally getting it to start up, and I hope a lot of other teams follow after us and start this program. Last, but certainly not least, I want to thank Her Campus for offering recognition to women like myself and those on the screen. In this day and age, it is so important to lift one another up, and I hope that the recognition of my work and the work of the other women here can serve as inspiration to others, and a reminder that what you do truly does have an impact. I'm honored to share the stage with 5 other strong and empowered women, so congratulations to you all. Go AU. I plan to continue my efforts to learn, to grow, and to provide a source of light in the lives of those less fortunate. It means so much to me that my work that I'm so passionate about also resonates with others. I'm truly humbled and appreciative. So thank you guys so much. This is really an honor.
Thank you so much for all of the work that you do. We really do appreciate you. Our next awardee is Britney Atebe, a international studies major committed to serving people who are not being served properly by government, and a graduate of the PA Governor's School for Global and International Studies program.
Can everybody hear me? Hi, I'm sorry that my face is also pink. My computer is just not updated enough to have a background, so I have to use like a weird green screen. But as Grace said, I am astounded by all the women that have spoken before me. You guys are all amazing and doing such cool things. And a part of me feels like I shouldn't even be in this space, but then at the same time, it's also the most empowering thing to be surrounded by so many women who are so dedicated to making a change and seeing a brighter future for the world. But as I was like thinking of how to even sit here and accept this speech, I found myself thinking about why I felt like the need to diminish myself and my own self-worth based off of like certain educational requirements and my time at AU, which has been short, but so far so great, as again, I'm sitting here in this space with you women. But I thought back to my nominator, who is my close friend and roommate, Isabel, and she, within her statement that she wrote nominating me, which she let me read, and I cried because it's always a refreshing thing to kind of be recognized and encouraged by the people that you surround yourself with, and also deemed to be astounding women and doing amazing things in their own prospective fields. But a part of me that, the part that stuck out to me the most was she wrote that I basically strived to be I want to say, an inclusive person at AU, and somebody who's always striving to kind of stick a hand out and to help people. Which is always, again, a crazy thing to hear, and from people that you love and support. But then it made me think back to my supplemental essay for AU, which had like a similar question of what do you define as an inclusive environment? And I'm glad that within the year and a half and year on campus, barely a year on campus, due to the COVID semester that we've been having, that my efforts to show inclusivity and to be a helping hand, or to just be a listening ear, which is something that I feel like is very important, especially in this time. Mental health is something that I always strive to push for as well, within my own community and within myself. So I'm glad that I'm being recognized today, and so are the other women here today, being recognized for their efforts and their inclusivity and their overall well-being and bright futures that I hope for everyone here. And I just want to say thank you again. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. You are absolutely deserving and more, and we are absolutely honored to be able to honor you. Our SOC awardee could unfortunately not make it today, but just to tell you a little bit about her, her name is Chloe Lee. She is the editor-in-chief of AWOL and the co-chair of the Student Media Board. She's also on AASU Student Advocacy Committee, and she actively uses her knowledge from inside the classroom and through her experiences towards helping others outside of the classroom, and is dedicated to advocating for diversifying newsrooms and supporting women of color.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for the most wonderful speeches ever. This event is always one of my favorite things that we put on every year, because it's just so, very loud. It's just so empowering to hear all of you speak, and I just love that we have this space for you guys to talk about what you think is important and what you are passionate about. So we are so grateful and so honored that you all took the time to join us today. Does anyone have anything they would like to add? Because that is the end of our programming. Okay, awesome. We did record this event.
I have one thing, Hannah.
Oh,
Could
yeah.
everyone smile for a little Zoom photo really quickly? Okay, y'all look so cute. Adorable. Thank you.
Awesome. So what was it? Oh, this is being recorded, and it will be on our YouTube channel later this week. So if you would like to share this with any of your family members or your friends or any clubs or organizations you're a part of, our YouTube is just Her Campus at American. And then also, if you don't want your face in the YouTube video, just let us know and we can edit it out if you have any privacy concerns or anything like that. But again, just to reiterate what everyone was saying, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for doing all that you do for AU's community, and we so appreciate that you guys took the time to come today. So have a wonderful week, and we will be in touch to send you all your awardee certificates. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.